Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Wailing Woods is where we landed. We're 2 rows, the next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy grove will soon be upon us. Katy high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to to show him this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show 'em this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show 'em this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show 'em this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show 'em this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now, waiting for the opportune time to show 'em this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows are next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now. Waiting for the opportune time to show 'em this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie Hike, we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie Hike, we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now. Waiting for the opportune time to show 'em this new power of mine. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie Hike, we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When words is where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie Hike, we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Unplugged Unfiltered. I apologize for the delay. As soon as I was getting ready to hit go live, everything shut off on me. StreamYard died, OBS died, everything all of a sudden just stopped working and said it could not connect. So
I thought it was because I wasn't there. It just all died.
That's what it was. Yeah, no, we I don't know. Sometimes technology, I mean, I've had it up and working and running and playing with different things for the last hour, and everything has worked perfectly fine. But of course, as soon as we get ready to go live, that happens.
I do believe that you own a technology company. You should be able to fix this crap.
I do. I don't own a media company, unfortunately.
That's a good point.
There's technology and then there's media.
Yeah, there is.
Anyways, well, welcome everybody. A little bit different look. Of course, I am sitting in my spot, but I'm also sitting in Bob's spot right there. And then Bob is sitting. Well,
I'm in a hotel room in Florida.
He is in Florida.
You can tell by the net on the wall in the hotel room and the fish.
There you go.
That's not a Minnesota look, Brian.
Absolutely.
No.
Well, anyway, it's going to be a fun podcast tonight. It's a little different. As you can see, I've changed once again. Our background looks a little different. But we're going to be talking about the decisions that nearly broke us.
Which one of those do you want me to talk about?
Yeah, all of them. We're going to be talking about all of them. But I mean, the thing about it is this isn't a highlight episode. This is, some of the decisions that looked smart at the time, but really weren't smart. A few of them almost cost, I know for Triton, has gotten close to costing us everything.
Yeah.
Or a big, especially as a startup, it doesn't take much for it to cost everything because you have very little in your bank account, especially as you're a startup. So,
right.
And then we're talking about them because, most founders are going to repeat these mistakes that we did. So, it's going to be a fun, episode. So, as I kind of was thinking about this, my first real thought on this whole thing, Bob, was, if I made one or two of these decisions 6 months later, Triton would not exist the way that it does today. And I think that every founder, every entrepreneur has those. If I had made these decisions a couple months later or a couple months earlier, my business would have ceased to exist or would not exist in the fashion that it does today.
Right.
And I think a lot of people feel like, I'm the only person who's made a stupid decision like this, or I'm the only person who's made that.
Everybody that's a founder can go like, oh yeah, that was me. Oh yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Everybody makes them, Brian.
Well, and I think a lot of it is the overconfidence trap, right? Every founder, every startup, I know I've been guilty of it, right? Is you get overly confident in your product, or you get overly confident in something in your business, and you go, okay, I start moving too fast because momentum feels like certainty. When in reality, momentum's not always certainty. Momentum's momentum. Certainty is certainty. And there's a big difference in both of those.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there. Anybody that started a company, I don't care if you're a brand new startup, you're going to make some really stupid decisions. And if you're a really successful startup or a really successful business, you are still consistently making stupid decisions. So, so it doesn't matter where you're at in the linear aspect of things. I think the biggest thing, Brian, for me is just really, and I've been in dealerships all this week in Florida. So again, that's where I'm at. And the one that I'm working with right now, it's a very successful dealership, opened a second location, probably opened it too soon. Okay, because they didn't have everything in place there. Now, fortunately, the dealership has enough cash flow and capital to override any mistakes that it's made. But as I left them today, they're going like, okay, Bob, we're thinking about opening the third location now. I've got another store. And I said, hey, let's just hang tight real quick. Okay? Let's get these done, because while you had enough cash flow out of your first one to take care of all the mistakes you made in this one, I don't think we have enough cash flow yet in both of them to handle the third one. So I said, let's just pull your jets a little bit and do it. It's like, well, I know, but I'm really excited about this. And I go, and I know you're excited. Okay. And I'm excited for you as a consultant. I'm excited for you. But as a consultant, I'm going to take you out of your emotional high, and I need to bring you back to reality a second and say, and the reality of it is you don't have a Chick-fil-A model right now, right?
Yes.
What you've got a model that's proved out at one store because you were there, and hasn't proved out at the second store. It will, because again, number one, I've been there now, so I know it'll work. But the other part is that the struggle was you didn't go to the second store, you stayed at the first store, and you hired 6 different managers to run the second store, and they all failed at it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He does have a manager in there now that I believe that's been a manager before that I believe can make this happen. But again, it's what happens. I think, Brian, we get so caught up in the emotion of it.
Yeah.
And you have to have that emotion in the beginning, Brian. You've got to be excited and you got to be passionate, because just like you've got an idea. And in the very beginning, this face it, your software didn't even exist in the beginning. So you've got to be excited enough, and you got to be passionate enough about it so that you can convince somebody on a product that doesn't even exist. They know you. Your first investor knew you and knew of you and has had good experiences with you. But that's what it takes in the beginning. But as you progress in your business, right, you got to understand that the excitement and the emotion, right, while you're the greatest salesperson, you got to start blending in some logic.
Oh, absolutely.
Into some of these different things like that. But I will tell you and every other business owner I've worked with after being in this 40 years, it's hard not to be excited about your business.
Oh, absolutely.
I love my business. I know you love Triton. Mark loves his business. It's hard not to be excited about it, but you have to start balancing that then with some, I don't know, logic.
With logic. Oh, well, absolutely. And I mean, one of the things that, and I'm going to try to do something here real quick. One of the things that I actually wrote down as kind of, this overconfidence trap is when ego or excitement replaces data, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, I have no ego. I'm totally data driven, Brian.
You're AI based? Is that what you're saying?
I am AI based. I was AI before AI was cool.
There you go. Yeah. And so, I mean,
I really do not have an interest in taking over the world. I do.
No,
but I am looking at Venezuela right now, thinking maybe that's an opportunity for me.
Yeah.
Was that probably politically incorrect? Probably.
I don't know. Do we ever do anything that's truly politically correct on this show?
I don't care.
We don't. So, but I mean, that's where it truly, and you mentioned it perfectly. And I mean, you don't even have any type of talking points in front of you, but it's one of those, that excitement replaces the data. And a lot of times I think dealers or any type of business or founder, they get super excited. I know I got super excited with some opportunities in Triton, especially early on, but I didn't necessarily look at the data. And had I looked at the data, I would have been like, okay, that's exciting and it would be really cool for me. But the data is telling me run the hell away. And had I done that, I would have saved, well, I can think in one instance of $35,000 on a specific website project
And
that never
I know
got
exactly, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
So,
for $30,000, they could have had the same thing done for $6,000 with somebody that actually knows what they're doing. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. Or my incredible website developer, if you're ever looking for a website person, I guess that camera's not even on anymore. If you're ever looking for a website person, iTrackLLC.com. If you go to that, Brian Diamond, he's the one who does our Unplugged Unfiltered website. He also does my Triton website, does an incredible job.
Yeah,
super, super affordable, and is so responsive. So if you need a website, that's who you got to go check out. But
this segment brought to you by.
Yeah, this segment brought to you by, and I've tried to get Brian on here. He goes, but I like to live in the background, which is why I make websites. I said, I understand, but
and he works for the CIA, so it actually is better that way.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, I mean, and a lot of times, in like we'll use the dealership you're at, right? Is the first signal that something is wrong, right? Is when you're looking at that. So, let's say that you're talking to the dealer that you're with this week, and what would be that first signal that would mean something is wrong, not to move forward with a third location?
Well, again, the first signal always is you look at cash flow, right? So cash flow is everything in business, and when you're opening up a second location, it has to within a year be able to cash flow itself.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and the other thing is when they open the other location, it's kind of cannibalizing, Brian, a little bit of their first location.
Absolutely.
So as you looked at it, you go like, well, we're really doing good. But if you really analyze the data, part of why you're really looking good is you're taking customers from your one location and you just simply shift it over here. So this is looking better, and now you're looking worse, right? Because they were a little too close together. Right. Mm-hmm. I normally recommend in a dealership world, an hour distance, so you need to be you can't be 3 hours apart, because if you're an owner, you're going to run the second location. So you got to be able to be comfortable going back and forth for a couple of years to get it up and going, so an hour kind of is my magic, but that's part of it. And I think, again, one of the other things I see is everybody wants to grow so fast because they think really what I want to do is get big quick. And I go like, no, what you really want to do is make a ton of money quick. Okay. Yeah. And getting big does not make you more money in the beginning. And it may never make you more money. I tell dealers all the time, I would rather have a little bit of a lot instead of a lot of a little bit. Right. Yeah. And so what I want to do, and I tell dealers, what you want to do, rather than maybe adding a second location, let's take your first location and make it a place that is where people want to come to. Make it a destination.
Absolutely.
Do things in it. Have things in it. Have cookies. Have ice cream for free. Have things that make people want to come into you. And I said, so for probably $10,000 a year, you could make your place a destination instead of spending $500,000 a year on a second location. Yeah. So I think sometimes it's just getting your head thinking about, well, I want to expand. I mean, I've done it with my business, and so I want to expand. I want to grow, but sometimes my desire to grow the business is an emotional decision, not a logical decision.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where momentum can be dangerous.
Absolutely.
When you start believing it means that you're right. Right.
Absolutely.
I can start seeing momentum, and I can start moving forward, and progress can be made. Or I can have a opportunity kind of overload, but that can be dangerous, because the reality of it is that is optimism without guardrails.
I would agree. Absolutely.
That's driving on the top of a mountain, right? It's great and it's really cool, but if I don't have guardrails, and then it's very easy to go off the edge and be back at the bottom of the mountain in a lot worse condition. And I think the reality is opportunity overload is not greater than or equal to progress. I've seen that a lot in Triton. we've had a lot of opportunity overload with dealers who are super excited, but that doesn't always come back, because I can take that and say, we've got a huge dealer base, a lot of people that are interested, and that's great, but that doesn't always mean that we're making incredible progress on
No,
the
not at
overall
all.
software.
Well, even Brian, one of the things that you've battled with your team a little bit is you've had a lot of manufacturers outside of the industry that you're normally playing in,
Yeah.
automotive and things like this, that go, okay, we want to work with you, we want to work with you, and while that's exciting, and your people are going like, well, why wouldn't we want to work with that European car manufacturer that everybody knows the name of? They want to work with us. Why wouldn't you do that? Because it gets it defocuses us from where we're trying to go. They will always be there.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to go away, because there's no other software company out there that honestly is going to catch up with Triton. I mean, they're just not. They can get to where you are today, but you're already going to be a year and a half or 2 years even in front of that.
Yeah.
And so, so I think that's the thing too, is with the team. And I've dealt that with my team. Why don't we do this? Why don't we go after this? Why don't we go after, I've had people say, why don't we go in the car industry, Bob? I mean, we do consulting in all these other industries. Why not in the car industries? And I've always told my people, there's a million of me in the car industry. Okay.
Absolutely.
There's just 2 of me in the construction equipment industry.
Yeah.
Why would I want to compete with a million people? Right. And it's not that what we do probably would be better than what they get the information from their consultants, but I have to look at it and say, that industry doesn't need me, but gosh, I could do power sports. I could do marine. I could do construction, right? These are industry, RV, these are industries that they've got some of me in it, but they don't have 1,000 of me in it.
Absolutely.
And so that's the thing I've always tried to teach with my team. It's like, just because it's there and it's a huge industry, right? There's also a lot of people in it. And are we probably better than them? And I don't mean that from an egotistical standpoint. I think we're always cutting edge on what we do, but I don't want to have to fight against a million warriors.
Well,
I want to go up with the oldest consultant out there that I know is going to die in 3 years, and I want to go after him.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't talk about, is when you start to expand outside of what your niche is, what you're really good at, where you've kind of built that, there's a lot of hidden costs that no one talks about.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It steals a lot of your time. It steals a lot of your team and your focus. And especially if you're a startup, or let's just talk about your dealership again too, right? Is they might not have all the people in place. So where are those people going to come from? Oh, well, they're going to come from the dealership that is being very successful because they have all of the right people in place, at least to get everything started. So, but a lot of times it feels stupid saying no, right? It has felt very stupid saying no to some of these big Italian car manufacturers that I would love to just,
but again, it's a no for now. I mean,
Absolutely.
I said no to the RV industry for several years. I said no to the marine industry for several years. And the reason is I had more than I needed to do to just do what we do.
Yeah.
As we've matured in those industries and we continue to grow in them, then I'm sitting there going like, okay, well, I'll use RV as an example. RV is one that there's a lot of consultants in it, but there are a lot. I always laugh. People say, well, how do you become the top consultant? You start out younger than everybody else. They all die and then you get to the top. I said, that's the key to consulting. You just got to start out younger, let everybody die. Then you get to be the king.
There you go.
So there's a lot of consultants that's been in that industry for a long time, kind of fading out. Their ideas are old. I mean, I pride myself with our companies. It's like with Triton. I mean, I always try to be, I tell people, I want to be bloody edge, not cutting edge. I want to be out in front and understand that we're going to make some mistakes being out in front. But I tell my dealers, I want you to be doing things before anybody else is ever thinking about them. And therefore, we're going to be on the bloody edge of the sword, not on the cutting edge of the sword.
Yeah.
And I think that's a piece of it. But you also, as I've gotten older, I mean, when I was young, like you, I know it's hard to believe, but I had a pretty big ego. But as I'm reaching my 71st, my ego is still there. I like to win, but I've also built in a lot more of that. Okay, let's slow down the pace just a little bit. Let's use logic. I still want to grow. I still want to expand. I want to do those things.
Yeah.
But I just think I have a better picture. It's kind of like Mike and Cass or Gary V. or Damien, or, some of the guys that you work with,
Yeah.
if you looked at where they started at, they were brash and egotistical and all that stuff. And they've gone through lots of battles and they've learned a lot of different things. And so it doesn't mean that they're still not, their ego doesn't drive them and they have a passion. They just got smarter about the risks they're taking. They still take risk, but they just gotten smarter about them. And I think they probably all slowed down a little bit in how quickly they jump on things, where when they were younger, they would jump on them in a heartbeat.
Well, and I think that a lot of times it's one of those, you kind of become a yes person in business, just because, again, we're, it's one of those, okay, well, this is momentum. That means that we're making progress. Right. Not always, but, I think that every yes, I know for Triton, every yes we've regretted wasn't always because it was bad, but because it distracted us from what actually mattered. I've done a lot of things that have distracted me from what truly mattered when it came to Triton, and it wasn't always a bad thing, but the distraction that's what it cost. It cost me a lot of time. And
well, and I think, Brian, to your point, and sorry to interrupt, but
you're good.
I don't really care. I will, but I think, again, it's kind of like what you start off with. Don't confuse movement with progress.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we get caught up in the momentum, but you have to understand that maybe that's not progress. You're moving, and I understand you're moving, and there's the excitement there, but are you really making progress? And I think that's a little bit of the hard distinction, Brian, as you're kind of going through it. It's, yes, we're moving and we're moving fast, but the question being is, but are you actually making progress?
Yeah.
Well, we have to be making progress because we're moving. Okay, you're going down a mountain into a gully. Okay, okay. You're moving fast, but it ain't making the progress you want to make.
Absolutely.
And I think your very first concept, that thought that you had is don't confuse movement with progress.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you have to always go back and look, am I progressing in what I'm doing? Because not all movement is positive movement.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and one of my favorite examples as far as the movement doesn't always mean progress is I watched a documentary on Michael Phelps once, and he swims in those training pools. Yeah, he's a decent swimmer. But he swims in those training pools where they've got that current going against him, right? He can swim as hard and as fast as he can, but he actually stays in the exact same spot. He's never moving forward. He can actually get pushed backwards no matter how hard you're working. But what he does is he learns from that, right? That's his training. That's what it makes him better. And so if you're not using that momentum in the proper way, it will never turn into progress on the back end.
Well, and that's a good point, because that's really building the muscle that you need, to do it. So if you're moving forward and it's all easy, you're not building any muscle or anything like this, and it's probably not good movement. Because every time you move in business, there's some pain associated with it.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time, I said, if everything is going good and everything is easy and everything's working good, you are ready for a massive failure, because that's just not how it works in business.
Well, and on that point, it's one of those, if you have a lot of momentum, but you're not seeing that progress, don't wait too long to fix that. Figure out why you're not seeing that, because the reality of it is hope is not a strategy. No. Hope for that easy, we'll call it a pyramid scheme, kind of like, oh, this is never going to be tough. And you don't ever see any progress. Hope is not a strategy. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the work, and things very rarely ever get better in business without building the right processes to take that movement and turn it into that progress.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's when I train salespeople, I always tell salespeople, if everything is going great in the sale and you're selling and everything's going good, and the customer's not giving you any pushback, they're not going to buy from you. Okay, so I just want you to know that. So they go like, oh, this customer didn't do anything, they didn't do pushback, anything like this. They're not going to buy from you. Because people that buy push back because they're trying to, in their own mind, understand, why should I do this? So they push back a little bit on you. And that's a sign that the sale is going to happen. If there's no pushback, if there's no resistance, it's kind of like Michael Phelps says, there's no resistance there. Yeah. Right. There's nothing that's actually building. And I think that's the other piece. If it's going so easy and if it's going really good, maybe 1 out of 1,000. Hey, you're on the right track. You just go. But I will tell you that I've never talked to an entrepreneur yet and they all start out. Do everybody that's an entrepreneur you don't start out typically in the hole. You got energy, you got passion, stuff like this, and that'll carry you a ways. Okay, but again, but then you kind of get into that drug of momentum, that cocaine of, okay, I've got this great high going on. But the reality of it is, if you're not starting to get some resistance and pushback, you're just going to flare out. You're going to flame out.
Oh, absolutely. And I think with different things, whether it's employees in your businesses, whether it's your processes, whether it's looking at different things, we talked about this with Cass and Mike, and when Cass was talking about being a very transparent leader, but I think the hardest decisions aren't hard in business because we didn't know what to do, but because we waited too long. And that goes back to that train analogy. And I'll let you kind of explain it, but the longer you're on the train, what happens?
More expensive it is to get off. Okay.
It is, yeah.
The longer you're on a train going in the wrong direction, the more expensive it is to get off the train.
Absolutely.
And I think that's always my thing is the moment you're not going to the right destination, get off at the next freaking stop. Okay. Because that's going to be the cheapest place to get off at, to go back in the other direction and get there. And I think that's always a good analogy. So many times we get on the train, and I think we get so blinded. And this kind of goes back to ego, Brian. We get so blinded by the ego that, well, I know this is right. I know it's right. And I think that's a fatal flaw sometimes as an entrepreneur, because I don't care who you are, you're not always right. And the fact that you learn to understand, hey, maybe this is clouded thinking, whatever. And this kind of goes back, Brian. I don't know how many of these we've done, like 34.
This is number 34. Yep.
34. But in the very beginning, we really encouraged, young entrepreneurs, and I don't mean young in terms of age, but, new people starting out as entrepreneurships, to surround yourself with people who've been on the wrong train. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Get off at this station. Okay. This is a station. There's a station coming up. Jump off the train there, get on the next train and go back the other way. And I think that's the piece, again, is understanding that, you and I talked about it, Cass and Mike talked about it. You've got to be around more seasoned people than you. And then, as I say, shut up, listen to them and do what they tell you to do. Don't argue with them, because they don't have any ego in it anymore. It's like me as a consultant. I don't have any ego in it. I'm there to help the dealership. I'm there to help the people. I had great conversations with all the employees over the last couple of days of both of these dealerships. Number one issue they have is communication. Nobody has any job descriptions. Nobody has any performance things that they're trying to do. Because when I ask people, so what do you expect to do? They go, I don't know, but I know when I don't do it right, because they come in and chew my ass out. I go like, okay, well, that's a bad management technique. So, but then I'm able to get back to them with the owners and say, okay, here's some fundamentals and basics. They don't have an employee handbook. There's just a lot of things that they're missing. And they got great employees, but it goes back again. I go in and as I told both of the owners that are part of it, they say, well, we didn't want to cloud your impression of our people. And I go, as a consultant, I've been doing this 40 years. I'm agnostic. I don't care what you tell me about an employee. And you, Brian, you've been on many dealerships. You've been in a million of them. And everybody tells you about the bad employee or whatever. And you always, like me, we always go in neutral. You can prove me to me that you're a bad employee, or prove to me that you're a good employee. I go in neutral.
Absolutely.
Right? So how I react, or you react with me, then and if you react with me good, and I'm going like, well, they may be a bad employee to you, but they seem to be fine to me. So maybe this is somebody to save. But again, I pull my ego out of it anymore. I go in, and I think that's the piece that you got to do. You got to make sure again that, as you and I talked about in some of the very beginning podcasts, surround yourself with experienced entrepreneurs. There's a billion of them out there. And just run ideas by them. And then if they go, well, it sounds like a good idea, but have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Well, no, not really, but you just don't understand my business, Brian. You don't really understand it. This is what we do and whatever. And I go like, hey, shit, business is business, right?
Absolutely.
We're all in it to make money, and it's all about gross profit. Okay.
Yeah.
And what we end up at the end of it. So I think that's a big piece of it, is getting your ego out of the way. And again, and we said in the very beginning of our podcast is with younger entrepreneurs, you've got to find seasoned, experienced entrepreneurs, and there are a million of them out there that run small businesses now. And you got to look at the ones that are successful. I mean, I know a lot of small business owners that they make enough maybe to live on, but they don't live like I want to live. You got to find the people that are living like you want to live, that are exceptional. It's kind of like we talked about Jelly Roll, one of the other podcasts. If you don't like how your life is, you got to find a different playground, and you got to find different people to play with. And that's a part of it. Finding entrepreneurs that are successful, that you say, man, I'd like to have that success. I'd like to be where they are. And even if they're not in your industry, entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship. They can help you get there.
Absolutely. Well, and I think the quicker that you can find that new playground or get off of the wrong train, right, you will feel an immediate relief.
Oh, absolutely.
After that hard call, because being on that wrong train or being in the wrong playground, that adds so much stress on yourself, stress on your relationships, time that you can't get back, and the mental load founders don't like to admit. I mean, a lot of the bullshit that founders have to deal with are, I would say, a lot of it's ego based, because if you did find the right mentor, if you did find the right, friends to be around at the playground, you wouldn't have the mental load, because as long as you ask them, listen to what they have to say, shut up and just do it. That relieves a lot of stress that most entrepreneurs and founders have to deal with.
And it does. And I think about, kind of using an analogy of the train again. Everybody's traveled at some point to some place they wasn't quite sure where they needed to go. And of course, they're following their GPS, and you're going like, oh my God, my GPS doesn't know what it's doing. But ultimately your GPS does know what it's doing. And then when you finally see the sign that says exit here for this hotel, this city, the relief that just flows through you, going like, oh my God, right? Okay, I'm on the right path. I'm going in the right direction. And that's the kind of relief that you feel when you're, like you say, you got off the train. And even though it was a little bit expensive to get off the train there, it's still cheaper than 18 stops later. And you're off there. And then when you're going in the right direction, you see exit here for Profit City, whatever. I'm like, oh my God, now I'm on the right train. And it's just that, like you said, Brian, it's that tension release that just happens, because even though you thought you knew where you're going, somebody with your GPS said, no, just stay on this path. You're going in the right direction. Don't use your mind. Use the logic of the GPS.
Absolutely.
It'll get you there. And I think that's the experience you feel with you. You get the relief that's like, oh God, I'm so glad I got off that train back there. Right.
Yeah. Well,
and we've all been there. I mean, I've had $250,000 decisions that I made that were $250,000 mistakes.
Yeah.
This is back in the early 2000s, when $250,000 today would have been $500,000 back then. And a part of it was I wanted to do something that was totally unique to the industry. I wanted to build my own learning management system, have all of our training on it, because we had a lot of manufacturers that were doing worldwide across the world. And back then we had two different videotape platforms that we had to develop too. And I had this brilliant idea of building a learning management system that was internet based. And back then, you had a 9,800 bits per second modem. So the video, you could choose to do the video or choose the audio, but you couldn't do both because nobody could actually process that. And I spent $250,000 on that. And a lot of it was my ego. I wanted to do something nobody else had ever done in the industry. My problem was the technology, that the ability to build it was there, but the ability to use it to distribute with wasn't. And so $250,000 later, I had this really cool thing that actually nobody could use.
Oh, absolutely.
Now they were able to use it later on, but I never recouped my $250,000 from it. Never.
Well, and as moving forward, I mean, one of the things, and I know you've done this in your business, and it's something I'm really focusing on. I mean, there's three things that as I move forward, when it comes to anything that happens in my business in Triton, and again, I know you do this for BCI as well, but these are things that I will never do again, no matter how tempting.
Work with your father? Is working with your father one of them?
No.
Okay,
I'm actually somewhat doing that again next week. So
okay, that's true.
Stepping back into it,
you are
benefit both parties involved. But the three things that I will never do again, no matter how tempting, is I'm not going to make a decision without real data. No opportunity that I'm not going to say yes to any opportunity that dilutes the core. And then
explain that just a second, because I think that's a really important idea. Not an opportunity. So talk about, what is the core? Where does the core come from?
Well, I mean, the core for us right now specifically is getting Triton built up, right? Is our core focus is outdoor power equipment and ag, power sports, dealers. Moving, for us to go into the automotive or go into, we've had hardware stores reach out to us. We've had manufacturers reach out to us for building full ERPs for them. That dilutes my core business and what we initially started. Do I want to get to that? Yes, but my core is not developed. That'd be like me taking on.
I don't want to interrupt you, and I want you to continue on thought. But I think that what you just said there is so important for small entrepreneurs, because you're presented with opportunities. And as you look at them, you go, "Wow, I could really make some great money over here." But the challenge is it takes away what, like you said, it really takes you away. It doesn't mean that you can't do them at some point. But it distracts you from what your core is. And I think that's a big issue that happens to entrepreneurs. You chase a little bit of money and you forget the big money over here. And so anyway, so I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
But I just think that's such an important point.
Well, and again, chasing, I could go chase $100,000 right now and say, okay, I'm going to get this $100,000 and that's guaranteed. But that might end up costing me $1 million on my core because I didn't get that done the way that it needed to be done. So yes, instant money. Sometimes you have to do what you've got to do in business.
I got to feed the family. Okay.
But I also have to keep that core situated so that no matter what, that is constantly building that revenue. That is that first location of a dealership, that can help fund the second dealership. And then once you get that, now your new core is your 2 locations. Get that going. Make sure that nothing dilutes that core until it's to a point where it can truly blossom. And then the last thing for me is no waiting when the answer is already clear. So if I have an employee I need to fire and I know I need to fire them, and it's very, very clear, if I have an issue when it comes to the software, and I go, okay, this is clear, I'm not going to wait. And for me, it's one of those, I'm not going to wait until Thursday when I have my development meeting. I'll see an issue and say, hey guys, I need this fixed right now. I don't want to wait until our development meeting tomorrow to get this fixed. If the answer is clear, I don't wait. It happens instantaneously.
And that's a hard one, especially when it comes to employees.
Absolutely.
As one of the dealerships I was at today, they have an employee that needs to go, and they agreed with me. They say, yeah, we really know they need to go. And I go, well, what's stopping us? And they go like, well, we didn't want to fire them over Christmas. And I go, okay, I appreciate that. But you knew they were bad in September. Okay. So you let it drag on. And now this guy who kind of needs to go, his wife now has found out that she has cancer. And then they're going like, well, gosh, now what do we do? And I go, okay, it doesn't change the situation. I said, now you can be compassionate and give him 120 days of,
severance package.
You can do whatever you want to. I said, but it doesn't change the situation that back in September, you knew you should let him go when your business was slowing down. Then it got to Christmas, and then they say, yeah, but we really don't want to let anybody go over Christmas. I appreciate that. My heart's a little darker than that, so I wouldn't care, but I appreciate the fact. But then this thing, and this always happens, right? It's like, I really want to let him go, but then this happened and I couldn't. And I said, I understand. And this is a wonderful company. They're compassionate. They're great people. But I said, that's fine then. So we still need to make this move. And I always tell my owners, when you need to move somebody out, just say, hey guys, Brian, we've made a decision to go in a new direction. We appreciate everything you've done. And this is what we're going to give you, whatever the severance is for that. And we really appreciate what you've done. You just let them know that you've made a decision to go in a new direction, and this is where we're going to go. And that's what I told them today. And I said, it doesn't change the fact that you can't continue to carry him for another year because he's a cancer. He's a cancer. Nobody likes him. He doesn't work well with anybody else. He's dragging the whole team down. And again, the thing is they knew it back probably in April.
Yeah.
They decided they thought they should do something in September, but then Christmas came around the corner. And to your point, Brian, when you know it, do it. Just do it. You know, there's no better time now than the present to make a change or to make a change in your direction.
Well, and kind of to wrap this up, you know, one of the things, the biggest thing that we are doing in Triton this year for 2026, when we did our vision meeting, we did our operational planning in 2026 in Triton, we're not chasing growth. We are protecting clarity. Because without clarity, there comes no growth. It's chaotic. It's the momentum, but never pushes you forward. It never, you know, my tires are spinning. I know we're potentially supposed to be getting 8 inches of snow tomorrow.
I'll stay in Florida for a few more days. So I appreciate the heads up on that.
That's like driving a rear-wheel drive Mustang in the snow. Yeah. My back tires might be doing 100 miles an hour, but my front tires are actually still at the exact same spot.
Yeah, they're actually pushing me toward the ditch is what they're doing.
Exactly. So, but yeah, we're not chasing growth. I mean, we want to grow, but for us, growth is going to happen through clarity and transparency in our business. So
Absolutely.
We're super excited for 2026. And like I said, we've made a lot of mistakes in 2025. Luckily, they didn't push us past the breaking point. They pushed us to the breaking point multiple times, but we never went past it. So
I'm blessed in my business because we made no mistakes.
Yeah,
Zero.
that's perfect. Yeah.
In 2025. There was no decision I made that wasn't a perfect decision. Right?
Absolutely. So, well, with that, we're going to kind of wrap it up. I do want to do a kind of a shout out for next week's episode. So next week is going to be fun. If you are in the Kansas City area and you watch this, if you've been to Crown Center, you know everything there is to know about the KC Fudge Factory, which is now Chip's Chocolate Factory. But we're going to talk about the sweet and sour sides of business and the fudge. We're not going to be shoveling shit, but we'll be shoveling fudge with the founder of the Kansas City Fudge next week. So he's going to be joining us. Cool. It should be a fun time. I am not going to be in the studio. I think Bob will be here.
I will be in the studio, and you will not be in the studio.
I will not be, but yeah, I'm going to be on location. Actually, back with a dealership, spending a little bit of time in a dealership with one of my new salespeople, so they get that experience of what actually happens in a dealership on a day-to-day business, day-to-day life of a dealer. So. With that, we're going to wrap it up. I appreciate everybody. Bob, thank you for taking some time out.
It's great. I didn't think I was going to be able to do this, but I forgot there's an hour time difference. So when I told you, I don't think I can make it. And then Sandy, your mom, said, well, actually, we're an hour ahead. And I go text Brian and let him know I'll be able to be on.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. It's perfect. So definitely it's more entertaining with both of us on here than it would have been just me. So I appreciate you taking the time.
You would have done great.
And for all of our viewers out there, we're going to wish Bob a very, very happy birthday. His birthday is tomorrow. He's turning 21 plus 50.
Plus 50.
Again. So happy birthday to you on that. Enjoy Florida. And I would say I'd come and shovel your driveway for you, but I don't know if I'm going to do that.
I will just pay somebody to do it. I go back in at 71. You're still never too old to be an entrepreneur.
There you go. Well, I will tell you, even if we do get a big snow event, I don't know how much it will stick because it was 67 degrees today.
It won't stick at all.
So anyways,
your temperature is about what it is right now in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Well, it was not like that yesterday, and it's definitely not going to be like that this next couple of days. But anyways, well, thank you again for joining us and hopping on here. We look forward to seeing everybody next week live here on Unplugged Unfiltered. Until then, we are going to unplug. You all have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on